Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Journalists across the industry, whether it's in politics, entertainment, mainstream news, regardless of what it is, will make mistakes occasionally. Whether it is a mistranslation, whether it is wanting to be first instead of being correct, mistakes can happen. What gives you a little added integrity is when you come out and you admit those mistakes, you give a retraction, an apology, you correct the error instead of, I don't know, doubling and tripling down, getting your usual suspects to follow through with the same nonsense that you're pushing out there. Regardless of how many times people come out and showed you just how wrong your report is. And that's exactly what we have concerning this Black Myth Wukong IGN slander. This article coming from Smash JT. Chinese gamer exposes, yet again, IGN slander against Black Myth Wukong. And at this point, can you really call it anything other than slander? It's been shown multiple times, and again, right here, yet one more person comes up and says, no, your translation was wrong. Your report is wrong. Why haven't they issued a retraction, an apology, something admitting their mistake? Because, well, they have a mission, they have an agenda, and they must stick to the script. IGN's misinterpretation of game science and Black Myth Wukong sparked unjust outrage across the entire video game industry. Only with journalists, for sure. Only with the shill, mainstream, access media following suit, getting their little NPC download, getting their script ready. That's about the only one, because gamers, honestly, we want to hear good news going on behind the scenes, but ultimately we just want good games. And Black Myth Wukong definitely looks like a fun, good-looking game. One Chinese YouTuber completely debunks the false narrative in a single video. In the gaming industry, sometimes cultural misunderstandings can quickly spiral into full-blown controversies. What helps people improve is when you come out, realize your mistake, admit your mistake, and fix it. Instead of, what IGN is continuously doing. And because of this, accuracy is paramount. Unfortunately, as I've covered in the past, Smash JT, as well as my channel, as well as multiple channels, the IGN article by Rebecca Valentine about game science's highly anticipated title. Now that is definitely the proper use of this term, because Black Myth Wukong, according to Steam charts and their wish list, is definitely, provably highly anticipated. Black Myth Wukong failed. This is basic standard because IGN has no integrity. They have an agenda to push. They have a narrative to push over and over again, regardless of the truth that comes out, leading to potentially severe repercussions for the relatively young Chinese studio. I think they're going to do just fine because they know their target audience and they're sticking to their guns. They're going, here's our video game, review our video game. Don't talk about any of the other nonsense. Talk about the video game. I hope you enjoy it. Seems to be working. Thanks to Chinese YouTuber Fei Fi, I think, we now have a clearer understanding of just how wrong IGN got it, and boy, is it telling. Well, honestly, it's considering IGN the usual suspects, pushing their agenda, pushing their narrative. This shouldn't come as any sort of real surprise. Rebecca Valentine's hit piece took aim at game science, accusing them of being sexist and misogynistic based on a clearly mistranslated and proven mistranslated by numerous accounts and misinterpreted statements from the studio. This narrative was quickly amplified across Western media because they have a script to follow, which many outlets eager to jump on the bandwagon without verifying any of the claims. Well, even after the claims were debunked, they still jumped on the bandwagon. What made this situation worse was that IGN's article was the only source cited by these other outlets, spreading misinformation far and wide. They all worked together to push the same false narrative. This right here is everything you need to know about the mainstream media, mainstream gaming journalists in general, but especially the gaming journalists. They have an agenda to push, and they're going to stick to it no matter what. And they're going to get help across the board. That's why they're failing. That's why channels like mine and websites like Smash JT and all across the YouTube are gaining traction, gaining popularity, because we're just trying to be honest. We'll tell you exactly how we feel, even explaining the biases that we may or may not have. Integrity. Go figure. Where IGN went wrong by publishing their statement and not retracting it once they found out it was false? Okay. Faye, I'm going to go with Faye. A Chinese YouTuber with a deep understanding of both Chinese and Western gaming cultures dissected IGN's article. I think I might need to be careful keeping those pictures on the screen. She pointed out that the translation used by Valentine was not only inaccurate, but damaging. The core issue, IGN's translator was not a native Chinese speaker. Oh my God. Was not a native Chinese speaker, but Korean. A detail that may seem minor initially. Oh, no, I don't think so. But had significant implications as we see unfold here. The nuances of Mandarin, especially when discussing culturally sensitive topics, are huge. And the mistranslation fundamentally altered the meaning of Game Science's works by running the hit piece without proper verification and confirmations from actual Chinese language speakers. IGN either knowingly attacked Game Science, I'll believe that, or equally as bad, ignorantly blasted the company for clicks and clout. Why can't both be true? Absolute morons who don't know how to do their due diligence when it comes to properly translating not just a different language, but a different culture with different, sayings and whatnot, and knowingly stuck with it even after it was shown that, well, they didn't exactly get it correctly. Now, these next posters, I don't know how YouTube's going to feel about it. We're 7 minutes in. It should be fine, right? Apparently, these are some of the posters that were talked about being front and center at the studio. And crass, yes. Crude, definitely. Sexist and misogynist? I don't think so. So we're going to get those off the screen before I get demonetized, ladies and gentlemen. Faye clarifies that while Game Science's statements may have come across as edgy and rude, they are not sexist or misogynist. This distinction is extremely important. Of course it is. You can be rude, crude, edgy, make your jokes, make your statements, all in good fun and laughs. Not everyone's going to like them. But to call them sexist and misogynistic? Maybe you're reaching for something that's not there simply because you want to push an agenda, push a narrative, a particular narrative. Kind of makes you wonder about that rumor going around about Sweet Baby Inc. wanting to extort money from Game Science. And when they said no, all the hit pieces started. Really makes you wonder how much of a conspiracy theory that really was. This distinction is extremely important as it destroys the very foundation of the crux that IGN hit piece. Well, I mean, just using your intelligence will destroy that. And knowing, again, it's IGN, the formerly reputable game journalist website, now filled with nothing but op-ed pieces and opinionated nonsense that don't belong in video game reviews. By relying on a flawed translation, Valentine labeled Game Science with accusations that simply don't hold any water. Faye's analysis highlights these discrepancies, demonstrating how a lack of cultural and linguistic understanding can lead to unjust conclusions. What do we have here, Miss Faye? And what on earth is going on with this? So, let's see. Game Science reputation took a big hit. Did it really? Did it really? It's the number one wish listed game on Steam. Like I said before, I think they're going to be doing just fine. What's most alarming is just how quickly other media outlets launched. That's not really alarming because they're all following in lockstep. They're all working together. They got the NPC download. They got the firmware update. They got their script and they ran with it. They're all working together, all the same people, practically. This kind of lazy journalism not only undermines the credibility, they have none, of these outlets, they never had it, never will gain it back, but also harms the very studios that claim to cover objectively. Special shout out goes to Grums for bringing attention to this situation. Without him, this issue may have continued to fly under the radar. Really? No, this is just one more article, one extra proof to what many channels like mine, many other people reviewing this subject have been talking about. Even I think Asmongold talked about it as well. Lots of channels are talking about this. Lots of channels have been bringing up the mistranslation and how nonsensical this whole thing is, and how it looks like IGN is simply trying to push some sort of an actual harassment campaign against a Chinese game studio when the game looks absolutely fantastic. What, 85,000 people watching the benchmark video just to get an idea of what the game's going to handle, how it's going to handle, how it's going to look? My goodness. In Grum's tweet, let's see, Chinese YouTuber Faye, again, I'm not going to butcher that, explains where Rebecca Valentine's post got it 100% wrong in their hit piece. Edgy and rude, yes. Sexist and misogynist, no. Rebecca got this so wrong. We should not be surprised. Let's see. Rebecca Valentine and IGN need to take accountability for this situation. Smash, you know that's not going to happen. A retraction and apology are not just appropriate, but are necessary. And again, we all know this is not going to happen. They have their marching orders. They're going to push and push and push no matter what. There will never be an apology. There will never be a retraction. However, there will always be accountability from essentially normies, the regular people, the gamer out there who are just going to look at this and go, okay, IGN, your credibility is shot completely, as it should be. Stop going to these websites. They do not deserve your clicks. They do not deserve your traffic at all. There are so many other, essentially, content creators, channels out there that do far better reviews, far better discussions on gaming-related news, video games, and pop culture entertainment that will do everything they can to earn your clicks, earn your views, earn your subscription, and will not go out of their way to insult your intelligence and integrity. At least most of them. IGN doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. They don't deserve the clicks. They don't deserve the traffic. They're failing just like the rest of the mainstream gaming journalists. In this case, it was unfairly tarnished. It has unfairly tarnished a studio that has been working hard to bring a unique cultural perspective to the global gaming audience. Again, I don't think game science is going to suffer all that much because of IGN's article. If anything, it signal boosted the game. This is nothing more than a Hogwarts Legacy situation. The more people are screaming and crying and whining and moaning and groaning about what is nothing more than a nothing burger, it is boosting the visibility of this game. It is introducing people who may not have checked it out initially, but the more people are talking about it, the more people are showing off the trailer and the gameplay and the just actual gameplay videos, the more people are giving it a look and are going to be willing to check it out. So, yeah, if anything, IGN's report made it better. Go figure. Bigger picture and agendas and biases. Well, we all know it. IGN has a biases, just like Kotaku, just like Polygon, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, all of the above. They want that access. They want the clicks, and they're going to try and denigrate any studio they don't like that's not following lockstep in what they want and what the modern audience needs. It's impossible to ignore the broader context here. IGN's agenda, whether intentional or not, it's intentional. It is definitely intentional. Is crystal clear in how they handle the story terribly. The rush to label game science as sexist fits a broader pattern in the Western media where certain narratives are pushed without sufficient evidence. That should be read without any evidence, sufficient or otherwise. The fact that IGN relied on a non-native translator raises questions about their commitment to accuracy. They have none, Smash. They have no commitment to accuracy. It's more along the lines of they would rather be first than correct, especially when covering a high-profile game like Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, the only thing they're worried about as far as covering the game is getting that question asked. They're going to ask over and over and over again. While getting invited to review the game, have questions about the game, and to talk about the game itself. No, they want to turn into some sort of mainstream journalist and asking questions about the goings-on in the studios. That wasn't what you were invited there for. So, I'm sorry, they have no commitment to accuracy. They just want the clicks. Instead of admitting they were wrong, they never will. They instead get angry at YouTubers calling them out for their obvious lies. Well, that's because we are invading their space, Smash. Everyone out there, we are invading their space. We're doing their job better, which should give you an idea of how good a job they're doing. And they don't like it. They're losing what little credibility they have because they had barely any before. They're losing the clicks, they're losing the attention, and just like Alyssa Mercante, they have to do anything and everything possible that they can to get people to pay attention to them, regardless of whether or not what they're saying is true or false, how much evidence, how many receipts they have to back up their claims, or how many people they have to insult to get those juicy little hate clicks. Fan baiting over and over again. Just like with Disney Star Wars, with Marvel, it's disgusting for lack of a better term. Faye's balanced critique. Interesting. Faye didn't fully defend Game Science's approach. She acknowledged that their communication could have been better and that they need to be more aware of how their words might be received internationally. Maybe. Let them do what they do, and we'll see how it turns out. Although when you are trying to reach a wider audience, a worldwide audience, I guess it would be a good idea to maybe get your own words, your own sayings pushed through an English proper translator. That way you don't come across the wrong way. So I guess I can agree with that. Let's see. Communication could have been better, and they need to be more aware of how their words might be received internationally. However, she does draw a clear line between being impolite and being sexist. An important distinction that I stated previously, that IGN and other IGN failed to make. Other sourcing IGN failed to make. In an industry where reputation can make or break a studio, the responsibility to report accurately is more critical than ever. Well, especially with content creators, because essentially that's all we have. We have our integrity. If we're being disingenuous, if we're constantly putting out false reports, the audience is going to see it. They're not going to come to your channel. They're not going to come to your live streams, and they're not going to support you. So, if nothing else, again, I decided to use good old Smash JT on this one. You have the only currency a content creator has is their integrity. Use it wisely, or you will run out. IGN's misinterpretation of Game Science's statement has caused undue harm. It's caused undue harm to IGN. I don't think it's done anything to Game Science. Again, I've been saying this throughout the whole article, Smash. And it's time for them to set the record straight. Wishful thinking. Don't hold your breath, because you're gonna die. Misinformation should never be allowed to stand, especially when it has such far-reaching consequences. I need to dissect. Dang it. I have to dissect this single statement. Smash, you have extremely high hopes for a website like IGN. That's like trying to have high hopes for a new outlet like Kotaku. IGN will never issue a retraction. They will never apologize for anything that they put out, misinformation or otherwise. The closest thing they'll do is 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line, they'll post an update in the article all the way at the bottom, if that. But as far as an outright, complete, full article retracting their statement, we all know that's not going to happen. And as far as the far-reaching consequences, the only consequences, as I've said numerous times in this video, the only consequences to be had are against IGN and the outlets who are doubling and tripling down on their statements concerning this report, this news report. I don't think Game Science is going to suffer. The only thing that is going to make Game Science as a studio suffer is if Black Myth Wukong comes out and it's a Cyberpunk 2077 day one release situation. I think that's the only thing that will keep them from making mountains of profits with this game. It looks good. It looks like it's going to be fun to play. I'll be looking forward to my favorite reviewers checking out the game, I think you should do the same. Find you one or two. Get some actual gamers, not paid shills, not those who got to go to Los Angeles to check out the game for 4 hours. Find someone who puts their money where their mouth is, reviews the game, and tells you exactly what they think, regardless of the consequences or the lack of access that they'll ever get for their careers. I do it. You should do it as well. Let me know what you think about this. What do you think? Do you think IGN is ever going to issue a retraction? They're going to back off of their statement? Or is every single review or every single IGN article talking about Black Myth Wukong going to continuously reference this sexist and misogynist bullshit narrative that they've been pushing? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTubers beg you to do. And I hope to see you on the next one.